From small tweaks to scrapping game mechanics and an entire biome being removed, here's 10 things that were removed from Subnautica. Hey there, I'm Aki and welcome back to another video. Quick spoiler warning, since this list includes some information about late game mechanics and creatures, you might not want to watch this. Just quickly before we start, I wanted to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Amino. Amino is an app you can download on Android and iOS, which is basically a huge platform for all types of indie games, art, roleplay, and so on. There's an Amino for almost every indie game you can imagine. You can take quizzes, polls, chat with other people, and look at people's fan art, or post your own. For example, this is the Subnautica Amino, and as you can see there's a lot of art and a lot of role-playing as well as some polls and quizzes you can take. You can, for example, try to beat my score in some Subnautica quizzes, which is not that easy. I usually score the highest out of all people, so go ahead and try. Another great thing is, usually just after an indie game comes out, there is an Amino for it. You can also create your own Aminos and grow a community for anything you like. There are already growing communities for the latest indie games such as Rust, Sallyphase and more. And if you want to know anything about Subnautica, go ahead and join the Subnautica Amino. There's a lot of people that will help you out, and there's also a lot of nice people to chat with. If you want to download the app, the link is in the description and as a pinned YouTube comment. But now let's get on with the video. Starting off at number 10, we have durability on knives. So no stasis rifling leviathans and stabbing them to death with one knife. You had to bring 4 to 5 knives to kill a sea dragon, and God knows how many you'd have needed to kill a ghost leviathan. You couldn't even use a prawn suit since that wasn't added yet, so killing a reaper was not an easy task. At number 9 we have the hellhole. This is a hole that used to be in front of the aurora, leading to the inactive lava zone. This was the path sea dragons supposedly took to grab reaper leviathans, drag them into the lava zone and devour them. Yum. This was removed shortly before Subnautica was released, so a lot of you might still know it. One of the most prominent features during Subnautica's early access phase was terraforming. The base parts would just terraform the land around them to get the necessary space. You could also craft a terraformer and get all the way into the lava zone without risking to lose your submarine to a sea dragon, ghost leviathan, etc. What I like to do was make cages for creatures, essentially making them my pets. However, they never actually removed the terraformer, so you can still get it with commands. In Subnautica's early stages, a lot of things were different. There was, for example, a rough version of the Twisty Bridges biome. It had a lot of trenches going in all directions and would have had a similar flora and fauna to the Safe Shallows. Sadly, they removed this biome before early access. Now, there also used to be a glitch where if you went away far enough from the map, the game would start rendering cliffs. You were even able to walk on some of them since some were generated above the water. Occasionally, you could hear strange sounds, but nobody has figured out where they came from yet. That sounds scary, doesn't it? At number 5 we have the dive reel. You were able to place the anchor in the ground and then go exploring, and afterwards just follow the rope back to the anchor. Recently the devs replaced this with the Pathfinder tool, which I find a lot better. This just places down small lights wherever you use it, efficiently guiding you back to safety. The 4th place is actually taken by 2 things, the Specimen and the Fragment Analyzer. You can still spawn the first one in the game, but it was never actually used.
New technology acquired.
The Fragment Analyzer, however, was in the game in the early access phase, and all you did was pick up fragments and put them in it, and after a while you get your blueprint. The Specimen Analyzer, however, would have been able to hold small creatures, analyze them, and then give you information about them. As you probably already guessed, both of these were replaced by the scanner. Personally, I really like the model of the Specimen Analyzer, so I would love if they found a use for it, maybe in the expansion. One of the most fearsome creatures in Subnautica is the sea dragon. This thing is a real threat to your Cyclops and exosuit, but did you know that there was once an animation for it swallowing your sea moth? This is what it looked like. I would not want to be in that sea moth. But of course, after the devs realized that your sea moth couldn't even go that deep, they removed it from the game. I'd love if they added it back just as a small Easter egg for people playing in creative mode. On the second place we have CMOS scan upgrades. Now most of you probably know that there is a scanning module for the CMOS that allows you to visualize terrain and creatures, but there used to be more of these. They were never added to the game, but you can still spawn them in with commands. There are three versions: the metal sensor, the lithium sensor and the fragment sensor. These just look for a specific resource in the area you're in, and if they find one, they alert you. I've tested them out in the game and noticed that only the lithium and metal sensors still work. The fragment sensor doesn't tell you about fragments anymore, even if you use the old ones. I'd love to see something like this in the game again, since it's actually a pretty cool mechanic. And in my opinion, coolest removed Subnautica feature is the entity gallery. Some of you which have been playing the game for a really long time might still remember this. This is a command which used to spawn every single entity in the entire game on white blocks. There would be rabbit race, sea dragons, the sea emperor, and some not yet added creatures, which have actually been scrapped, so aren't even in the game today. And this was just the best way to see what future creatures we will get in the game, and also what future buildings. For example, before the precursor bases were implemented, one of them showed up in the entity gallery. Sadly, they removed the entity gallery due to it causing issues such as lag and crashes, but I think it would be cool to add it back, just to see what the devs are working on. For example, a hidden new creature? Who knows? And now we have a special place for the power glide. This one was just too cool to not include. This is basically a dope version of a sea glide. It works just like a normal one, but if you left click, you would go insanely fast. This sadly broke later on in development and wasn't fixed, and eventually scrapped and not added to the game. Which of these is your favorite? And did I miss any? Tell me in the comments below. Now thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like. Let's see if we can get 500 likes. And as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!